Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Secretary, our nation's $32 trillion in debt. And of course, we talk about it's all about the children. And it's amazing that we're maintaining our standard of living on the backs of future generations. Even worse, the Department of Education is dead set on enacting costly programs like this mass student loan bailout. Student loan cancellation will cost every taxpayer in my district $3,527. Let me say that again. My constituents in the 12th District of Georgia now have to pay the federal government an additional $3,527 to cover the cost of someone else's student loan. Do you believe that canceling student loans will financially help Americans who never went to college? Yes or no?
Thank you for the question, Congressman Allen. I believe the targeted debt relief plan will help prevent defaults and get people back on their feet. I also believe that the strategies that we're taking
so
to make
yes,
college
you
more
believe
affordable.
canceling these loans will help folks who actually never went to college?
Sir, I believe if we help folks get back into repayment without falling into default, it would help not only them, but their local economy.
Do you believe that canceling student loans will reduce the amount that students will borrow now that they have every incentive to think the federal government will pay their loans for them? Yes or no?
I believe you're referring to the income-driven repayment plan. The income-driven repayment plan that we're proposing is...
I know about the plan, sir. Just, yes, do you believe that you should continue this process?
We are expanding options for students to attend college. There are too many students in this country that think college is out of reach for them, and we're fixing that.
Do you believe that canceling student loans will reduce the amount that colleges charge students? Yes or no?
In conjunction with our accountability measures and our efforts to make sure that we're holding colleges accountable for a good return on investment, I believe that we are working on making college more affordable.
Yes, sir, but studies show that increasing subsidies to colleges and universities causes the cost of college to increase. And in fact, that's true under every federal program. In my first term in Congress, we passed the Every Student Succeeds Act to replace the No Child Left Behind. We did this to block grant the funds directly to the states and let the states take control of our education. And we also did this to reduce the size, scope, and the budget of the Department of Education. President Biden's FY24 budget calls for an increase of $10.8 billion in Department of Education funding, and this comes after $190 billion of COVID relief funds sent to K through 12 schools to help them reopen and respond to the effects of the pandemic. The department's lack of oversight led to their inability to track how the funds were being spent. Now Congress doesn't know if these funds were effective for the purpose of COVID relief. In short, by providing these funds to the Department of Education, we are effectively throwing money down a dark hole. Why would we appropriate even more tax money to the Department of Education when the department has already shown their inability to manage the $190 billion in COVID relief funds?
Sir, I know that the American Rescue Plan dollars were a lifeline to districts. In my visits to states, I've had parents, students, educators tell me that those dollars were the reason why students were able to re-engage. And I'm sure in your district as well, many students benefited from
Sir,
the
I was
American
talking
Rescue
about
Plan.
the accountability of the funds.
We have on our website, if you go to ed.gov, an ARP data transparency link so that it's very clear where the dollars are spent. And we engage regularly with each state to make sure that the dollars are going what they were intended.
Well,
by
let me ask you
Congress.
this. Has the department taken any action to change their oversight protocol to ensure funds appropriated to them are being spent in ways that were intended?
We take the fiscal responsibility very seriously, and we are engaging in processes, and I'd be happy to have my team share with you very specifically what we're doing and how we're supporting states use the dollars to support students getting back into school, mental health supports, and academic recovery.
Well, that's the reason I asked the question, is that we would like to explore that oversight. Mr. Secretary, the Biden administration's F-24 budget request proposes a new $200 million career-connected high schools competitive grant program. I've got 16 seconds. How are you going to get these funds to rural areas that don't have the expertise to apply for these grants?
Thank you for that question. I know time is short. Happy to follow up. We have a rural community of practice. We are engaging proactively with our rural communities. They deserve the attention and access to the grants as well.
Okay, please respond to that in depth so that we make sure
Thank you.
rural America benefits. And with that, I yield
Thank you.
back.